History is often defined by its conflicts. But what about the wars that span not just years or even decades, but entire lifetimes and generations? Today, we're counting down the 10 longest wars in human history. Some of these conflicts stretched for so long that the original reasons for fighting were almost forgotten. Let's dive in. Kicking off our list at number 10 is the Punic Wars, a series of three major conflicts between Rome and Carthage, lasting 118 years, from 264 to 146 BC. This was a struggle for dominance over the Western Mediterranean. The famous Carthaginian general Hannibal crossing the Alps with elephants? That was during the Second Punic War. In the end, Rome emerged victorious, utterly destroying Carthage and cementing its status as the dominant power in the ancient world. At number 9, we have the Hundred Years' War. Now, this one's a bit of a misnomer, as it actually lasted 116 years, from 1337 to 1453. This was a dynastic struggle between the House of Plantagenet, rulers of England, and the House of Valois, rulers of France, for control of the French throne. It was a period of immense upheaval, featuring iconic figures like Joan of Arc and legendary battles like Agincourt. The war ended with the French successfully expelling the English from most of their territory, helping to forge distinct national identities for both countries. Coming in at number 8 is the Seleucid-Parthian Wars, spanning 129 years from 238 to 129 BC. This was a long and grueling conflict between the Seleucid Empire, a successor state to Alexander the Great's empire, and the rising power of Parthia in modern-day Iran. The Parthians gradually chipped away at Seleucid territory, eventually pushing them out of Persia and Mesopotamia. This long struggle marked the decline of Hellenistic influence in the East and the rise of a new Persian power. Number 7 takes us to the Dutch War for Independence, also known as the 80 Years' War. Lasting from 1568 to 1648, this was a revolt of the 17 provinces in the Netherlands against the rule of Philip II of Spain. What started as a rebellion against religious persecution and high taxes evolved into a full-blown war for independence. The conflict finally ended with the Peace of Westphalia, which officially recognized the Dutch Republic as an independent nation, marking a major shift in the European balance of power. At number 6, we find the Byzantine-Seljuk Wars. This series of conflicts lasted for an astonishing 215 years, from 1048 to 1263. It began with the Seljuk Turks, a nomadic people from Central Asia, pushing into the Byzantine Empire's territory in Anatolia. The pivotal Battle of Manzikert in 1071 was a devastating defeat for the Byzantines, opening the floodgates for Turkish settlement in what is now modern Turkey. Though the Byzantines would experience periods of recovery, this long war fundamentally weakened the empire and set the stage for its eventual fall. Halfway through our list at number 5 is the Arauco War. This was a brutal, protracted conflict between the Spanish colonialists and the Mapuche people of modern-day Chile. Lasting for 293 years, from 1536 to 1829, it's one of the longest conflicts in the Americas. The Mapuche fiercely resisted Spanish attempts at conquest and colonization, using their knowledge of the terrain and guerrilla tactics to great effect. The war only truly ended after Chile gained independence from Spain, though tensions and conflicts over land and rights have continued into the modern era. Now for number 4, the Byzantine-Ottoman Wars. Lasting a staggering 299 years, from 1265 to 1479, this was the final chapter in the long history of the Byzantine Empire. The rising Ottoman Turks systematically conquered Byzantine territories, culminating in the famous siege and fall of Constantinople in 1453. This event sent shockwaves across Europe, marking the end of the Middle Ages and the final demise of the Roman Empire, whose eastern half the Byzantines represented. The conflict didn't stop there, however, as Ottoman campaigns continued against remaining Byzantine successor states. Entering our top 3, at number 3 we have the 335 Years' War. This one is a bit of a historical oddity. It was a declared state of war between the Netherlands and the Isles of Scilly, off the southwestern coast of England. It supposedly lasted from 1651 to 1986. Here's the catch. Not a single shot was ever fired. The war was declared during the English Civil War, but a peace treaty was never signed. The war was completely forgotten until a local historian discovered the situation in 1985. A peace treaty was finally signed in 1986, ending the longest and most peaceful war on our list. The runner-up for the longest war in history, at number 2, is the Roman-Persian Wars. This epic series of conflicts between the Greco-Roman world and the Persian empires lasted for an incredible 721 years. Starting with the Parthian Empire in 54 BC and continuing with its successor, the Sasanian Empire, until 628 AD, this was a monumental struggle between two of the ancient world's greatest superpowers. Control over Mesopotamia, Armenia, and the Caucasus was constantly contested. The endless back and forth exhausted both empires, leaving them vulnerable to the rapid Arab conquests of the 7th century that would change the world forever. And finally, at number 1, the longest war in recorded history is the Reconquista, lasting an almost unbelievable 781 years, from 711 to 1492. This was a period in the history of the Iberian Peninsula marked by the conflict between the Christian kingdoms and the Muslim Moors who had conquered the region. It began with the Umayyad conquest and ended with the fall of Granada, the last Muslim state on the peninsula, to the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella. This centuries-long struggle profoundly shaped the culture, religion, and identity of modern Spain and Portugal. From ancient superpowers clashing for centuries to a forgotten declaration of war that lasted over 300 years, history is filled with conflicts that defy our modern sense of time. These wars shaped empires, forged nations, and left legacies that still echo today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey through history fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the past. See you in the next video.